Sequential Fourm for all the wrong reasons. And maybe you should too. And that's what this video is going to be about, why I bought this synth and why you may want to consider it as well. Now, I should start by explaining I spent months researching this synth. I mean, I tend to research things to death, and that's what I did with this, to the point, I think, of paralysis about whether I should buy it or not. And I just want to do a quick little summary of what I saw in all the millions of reviews that I watched that caused me to debate whether to do this. So I'll start with the pros, just 3 pros. The first pro, at least what everybody said, was it has the Prophet sound. And people love the Prophet sound. And so that's one of the great pros, they said. It sounds like a Prophet. The second pro, a little bit controversial, but not a lot, is that it has Polyphonic Aftertouch, which is just really cool what you can do with that. And people really like that idea that it had Polyphonic Aftertouch. Maybe the only sequential synth right now that does. And finally, people love the layout. I mean, it has a great layout when you look at it. It has the oscillators, the mixer, the filter and amp envelopes, the mod matrix. It's just really laid out really nicely and clearly. It's a good looking machine. It's also as solid as rock. So those are the pros. 3 cons. Well, one of the cons is that it only has 4-note polyphony. Now, being that I'm not a keyboard player, that's all right. I could do a nice 3-note chord with a little bit of lead on top, or do a little 3-note chord up here with a nice little bass note down here somewhere, or whatever. So, yeah, it would have been nice to have had 5 or 6 or 10-note polyphony, whatever. But 4-note really wasn't a huge thing for me. But I could see where, if you're a keyboard player, you'd see that 4-note polyphony is a con. The big con that everybody talked about was amazing synth, analog, sequential, good price for a sequential. It is amazing. Why did they put MiniKeys on it? That sucks, Yeah, okay, it makes it smaller, but MiniKeys, no, big con for many people. And the third one is that it has monophonic output with no effects at all. And people said, well, it keeps the price down, and it's all analog, adding digital effects means that it wasn't really analog. So those are 3 cons. There are 3 things that I would say is kind of a draw with it. Some people say, hey, it's the most affordable sequential synth ever. Wow, that's great. And others are saying, yeah, but that's still way too much for what it does. Why does it have to be so expensive? Yes, okay, it's cheap for sequential, but it's still an expensive synth for the amount of things that it can do. So it's kind of a draw. Some people say, oh, great price. It's a sequential. It's built like a rock, amazing machine, And others are saying, yeah, but man, that's still a lot of money, So another one is that everybody loves the layout and everything, and it has almost 1 knob per function, but there's still this diving you have to do into the menu system here. But on the other hand, there's this whole thing about, it isn't quite, but when you press a button, it automatically goes to what you need to set. So it's, it's fairly easy to manage that as well. It's intuitive, shall we say. And then the final complaint is, yes, this is a nice modulation matrix, and it's really clear how to set it up, how to turn something on or off, or, make it purple or red or blue or whatever. But it's not that complicated, and there's always something more that people want to do. Oh, I wish it did that. There should be more destinations, or there should be more sources, especially on the aftertouch part. So there's, but others are saying, hey, yeah, but it's a great little modulation matrix and it's quick and easy to access and use. So those are the kind of things that I got out of all the videos, the 1,257,304 reviews that by the way, great reviews. I mean, great reviews, lots of good information. People really worked hard at figuring this thing out and wanting to share that, and they're very articulate. So, what are my 3 reasons that are absolutely crazy, wrong reasons for wanting to buy this? And I'm going to share one reason why I almost didn't buy it. So, the first wrong reason is the MiniKeys. As I said earlier, I understand the critique. I mean, my heavens, if you're a trained pianist, went to Juilliard or the Royal Conservatory or whatever, this must drive you crazy. Unless, of course, you're Jordan Rudess, who seems to be able to play anything, including an iPad. But I can see where the MiniKeys would be a real pain. But first of all, I'm not a player. I'm a guitar player who discovered synths late in life. And I have short little fingers. I mean, I can do a whole octave. In fact, I can do an octave +1 on this keyboard, which I can kind of do an octave on a full-size keyboard, but definitely not +1. And this one's so much easier for me to hit than a full-size keyboard. So I love MiniKeys. They're wonderful. I prefer MiniKeys. They're just for me. The other thing is that, and this is going to sound heretical, but I actually was drawn to this to use it as a controller. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Hold on a second. It's a sequential synthesizer, a relative of the great prophet. Why in the world would you want to use it as a controller? Well, that's because I have a Hydrasynth right here. And my Hydrasynth, let's see if I can get it. Well, you can't see it very much in this shot. But anyways, I have a Hydrasynth. And this Hydrasynth desktop only has these little pads, which I can access either with the Atom or with it. And yes, they're polyphonic and aftertouch, but even though I'm not a keyboard player, I play keys better than I play pads. And I really wanted a keyboard that had polyphonic aftertouch that I could use with my Hydrasynth. This is replacing my Arturia Keystep 37. And if the Arturia Keystep 37 had polyphonic aftertouch, this video wouldn't be happening and this synth would not be sitting on my desk. But it doesn't. In fact, the only other option to have MiniKeys and polyphonic aftertouch would have been to trade this in, because the Explorer version of this didn't exist when I bought it. And I didn't want to take the hit on the trade-in and also having fewer knobs per function on the Hydrasynth. So that's a big reason why I chose this, is because it could be used as a controller for my Hydrasynth. It's also this, I think maybe I'm just getting old, or maybe I wasn't that bright to begin with, but I really liked the simplicity of this. I have had other synths, the Roland MC-707, which I actually traded in for this, okay? The Mini Nova and the Roland SP404. And the problem I'd run into, I'll use the MC-707 as the best example. When I bought it, I spent hours learning it. I watched all the training videos. I took notes. I have a 27-page document with all the notes, because it's a complicated unit and does amazing things. The problem is that for a while I wasn't using it because I was doing other things here, and I'd come back to it, and it's like, I don't remember how to do this. How in the world do I do this, or how do I do that? And in the end, the last number of videos I made, when you look at them, were incredibly simple, because I just could not remember all that other stuff that I knew at one point. The SP404 is even a worse story. I think I made one video with it. I just struggled with it. And the Mini Nova, you talk about menu diving on this thing? Well, it's nothing compared to the SP404. I was lost with those. So I wanted something where I could look and go, oh, here's an oscillator. I could change the frequency. I could bring in sync. I could take saw, pulse width. I could, everything is there in front. Oh, look at that. I can change the attack or the decay. I really like something simpler. And yes, there's a depth to this. I know I'm going to fight with the arpeggiator because especially on the 707, you got beautiful pads that you can, drop in all your kicks and then your snares and your hi-hats, and it's pretty quick. Though I've got the ASM SQ, which also can do that. In fact, that's basically, this is going to be more important to me now in my DAW. So I really love the simplicity of how this can be programmed, and I could step away from it for a little while, maybe do a whole bunch of stuff for a while on the Hydrasynth or on whatever I've got in the computer, and then come back to it. And I don't think I will be as lost as I was with the 707. So what's the one reason why I almost didn't buy it? I mean, besides the price, yeah, great price for a sequential, but it's still an expensive machine. The first one is the Prophet sound. Now, before you start saying, hold on a second, you hate the Prophet sound, how evil are you? I love the Prophet sound. I think it's a great sound. I'm old enough to remember when the Prophet came out. I was in my 20s, when the Prophet was released. I've gone through the whole synth age, okay? Love the Prophet sound, but it seemed like a lot of the demos were demoing variations on the Prophet sound. Everything was about the Prophet sound. And okay, that's great, but is that all I'm going to get out of this? Like, it's a lot of money to spend something that's going to be pretty limited in what it does to one sound or one kind of set of sounds. So that really made me hem and haw. I thought, man, okay, it's got the MiniKeys. It can run my Hydrasynth. I can use it with my DAW, and I love the Prophet sound. But how often am I going to use it? So I debated and I hemmed and hawed, and then Long and McQuaid here in Toronto forced my hand. And that a few weeks ago, I went on their website and they'd taken $280 off. It was on sale. And all of a sudden I felt like, I guess I got to make a decision. So I knew I was going to pack up the MC-707 and trade it in. So I cleaned it up, made it look pretty, packed it up, took it down to Long and McQuaid. And I said to a great sales guy there, Stuart, just great. I said, I need divine revelation here. Here's my issues. Okay, laid it all out. So we looked at all kinds of stuff. I tried the big keyboard version of the Hydrasynth. It's an amazing synthesizer, but A, it had those full-size keys, and B, it's so big it doesn't fit in this tiny little space, and I don't have a lot of room in here. So he really helped me look at a whole bunch of different options and then left me on my own. And I fiddled with it, and I realized this really is the answer, even if it only has the Prophet sound. So I bought it. And I got it home, and I set it all up, and I loaded up the other set of patches because it only comes with the one factory set, and discovered this does way more than the Prophet sound. This does some really weird and wild stuff. It's amazing sounding, and it has a lot of variety and versatility. I don't have to just settle for always sounding like I'm playing a Prophet, even though some of the people who reviewed this said it doesn't sound like a Prophet entirely, just kind of close. So I got this. Now, maybe you should consider for the wrong reasons. It's a great sounding synth, and it does more than the Prophet sound. It is a great controller. It works really well with everything. Though I will do a video on that because it took me a long time to get it to do everything, to figure out how to make it do everything. I'll do a video showing the MIDI wiring and the audio wiring and all the things that I've done to make sure that this works. So that'll be coming out at some point. The Polyphonic Aftertouch, you don't have to have a Hydrasynth. I have Pigments, and there's a lot of software that has Polyphonic Aftertouch and lots of software synths that you can do that with. Yes, it has mono output, but what I've been playing in the background here on and off, it is just the straight sounds out of here. I did no processing except for a little bit of compression at the end on the track that I made for it, but I didn't add any effects at all to it. But the beauty of it is, yes, it has this mono output. You can run it straight into your DAW and add effects there. I've got the TC Electronics delay, and down under here I've got some more controllers, for expansion and reverb and so on and so forth. But I also have the plethora here. So actually, this comes out of the synth into the plethora and comes out in stereo. And at the moment I have reverb, delay, and chorus up, but there's a billion different modulation type effects you can use on this. So it actually comes out in stereo and goes into the board. And the other thing to keep in mind is if everything you record is recorded in stereo, you're not going to have any definition. Everything's going to become muddy. You really need to be able to place your instruments. So having a mono synth, even if you put a little reverb on it or a little delay, keeping it in one channel actually makes a lot of sense instead of spreading it out all over the universe. The Fourm does go on sale. In fact, as of the making of this, I think it's still going to be on sale for a couple more weeks here in Canada. So there are deals to be had on it, and I suspect in a couple of years, because these videos tend to stay up forever. So maybe in the future, when you're watching this for the first time, people will have tired of it and they're selling them used. And I think it's selling very well, so there'll probably be lots of options down the road. And even though it's simple to use, which I know is actually a really good selling point, it has a lot under the hood if you want to dive in there. And it isn't that deep a dive that, unlike me, you will forget how that does. So anyways, just to wrap up, thank you so much for watching this video and for seeing how I've done all this and why I've done all this. And you may want to consider getting one of these too. It's an amazing sounding synth. So thank you so much for watching. Oh, and subscribe and press like and comment. I guess I should be asking some kind of leading question. When you think of the forum, let me know in the comments below. So take care. Bye-bye.